What if I told you that the aging process, what we typically accept as an unavoidable decline in energy, strength, and sharpness, can be slowed, even reversed in some areas, by changing just a few daily behaviors? And what if I added that this isn't hype or speculation? It's neuroscience. See, aging isn't just about the number of candles on your birthday cake. Biologically, aging is a slow breakdown in cellular communication, hormonal signaling, brain plasticity, and metabolic resilience. But here's the breakthrough insight. Many of these processes are directly influenced by your behavior, how you eat, move, sleep, connect, and think. In fact, researchers at Harvard and Stanford have found that certain lifestyle patterns can change biological markers of aging by up to 10 years. Not just slowing time's impact, but recalibrating how your cells, brain, and hormones function on a daily basis. Aging is no longer just a clock, it's a set of signals. And we now have the tools to influence those signals. So today we're going to dive into 6 powerful science-backed strategies to slow down aging and feel a decade younger. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. These aren't vague, live better ideas. They're concrete, behavioral tools backed by neuroscience and clinical studies, tools you can implement today to start feeling more energetic, resilient, focused, and connected. We'll explore how your mitochondria, your cell's energy engines, can be reawakened by simple movement patterns. How one underrated social habit can reduce inflammation and extend your lifespan. And how brain plasticity, the ability to learn, adapt, and grow, can be reignited after 50 with a few targeted changes. You'll learn how specific circadian habits change your hormonal aging trajectory, which daily microstressors actually improve cellular health, and how to eat and sleep to extend both your health span and your sense of purpose. Because aging well isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. So whether you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or already navigating your 70s, this is for you. Because science now shows it's never too late to create a younger, stronger, more vibrant version of yourself. Let's begin. Point 1. Optimize your circadian rhythm to reset biological age. One of the most powerful and most overlooked levers for slowing aging is the circadian rhythm, your body's internal 24-hour clock. This isn't just about sleep. Your circadian rhythm regulates everything from hormone production and metabolism to DNA repair and immune function. When it's aligned, your body runs like a finely tuned machine. When it's disrupted, which is common as we age, inflammation rises, hormones destabilize, and biological aging accelerates. Here's what the research shows. A 2020 study published in Nature Communications found that misaligned circadian rhythms can alter the expression of over 1,000 genes related to aging and disease. Conversely, restoring circadian rhythm can positively affect mitochondrial function, cognitive clarity, and even skin aging. But what controls this rhythm? The master clock sits in the brain's suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN, a tiny cluster of neurons that responds primarily to one thing: light. This is why morning light exposure is so critical. When you view natural sunlight within the first 30-60 minutes of waking, especially outdoors, it triggers a cascade. Cortisol rises at the right time to energize you, melatonin is suppressed, which helps set your sleep timer for the night, and genes involved in cellular repair begin their daily rhythm. If you delay light exposure, say by staying inside or staring at a phone screen, your clock drifts, and when the clock drifts, so does your biology. A simple tool to apply is this: get outside within 30 minutes of waking, even on cloudy days, for at least 10-15 minutes. If sunlight isn't available, e.g. winter or early morning, consider a 10,000 lux light therapy box to mimic morning sun. But it doesn't stop there. Evening light matters too. Exposure to bright artificial light, especially from LED screens, between 9 p.m. and midnight significantly suppresses melatonin. So, can sleep up the cottonette. Sunlight doesn't just help, and melatonin isn't just for sleep. It's a powerful antioxidant that helps your brain clean out waste and your body initiate deep repair processes. Here's the protocol to wind down circadian friendly. Dim lights, 1-2 hours before bed. Use warm-colored light under 2,700 K in the evening. Avoid overhead lighting at night and reduce screen brightness, ideally with blue light filters. Now, beyond light, timing of meals also synchronizes your biological clock. Eating late at night sends confusing signals to your liver and gut, organs that also operate on circadian cycles. Studies from the Salk Institute show that late-night eating disrupts metabolism and increases markers of aging like insulin resistance and inflammation. So the habit here is finish your last meal at least 2-3 hours before bedtime. You might ask, does this really matter in the grand scheme of aging? Here's the surprising part. A 2023 study in Cell Metabolism showed that adults who aligned their light and meal timing experienced significant improvements in sleep quality, energy, and even skin elasticity within 8 weeks. Their biological age markers improved, even though their chronological age didn't change. That's the real magic here. Aging is not just a function of time, it's a function of inputs. And circadian alignment is one of the most influential. So the question becomes, have you trained your body to know what time it is? Because when your internal clock knows what time it is, your metabolism, your brain, your hormones, and your recovery processes all start acting younger. And that's where anti-aging begins. If energy is the currency of life, then mitochondria are your internal power plants. And as you age, these power plants start to falter. One of the central mechanisms of aging is mitochondrial dysfunction, a process where your cells lose the ability to produce energy efficiently. The result? Fatigue, slower recovery, brain fog, decreased muscle tone, and a higher risk of metabolic and neurodegenerative diseases. But here's the good news. This decline isn't fixed. You can rebuild mitochondrial function at any age through a very specific type of movement known as Zone 2 cardiovascular training. Zone 2 is not intense, sweaty, high heart rate cardio. In fact, it's the opposite. Zone 2 training keeps your heart rate in a moderate range, about 60-70% of your max, where you can still hold a conversation. Think brisk walking, cycling, rowing, or incline hiking, while maintaining steady, rhythmic breathing. What's happening in your cells during this type of training is remarkable. Zone 2 cardio activates a process called mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria. It also strengthens the function of your existing mitochondria, making them more efficient at producing ATP, your body's energy molecule, and clearing out harmful byproducts like reactive oxygen species. A landmark study published in Cell Metabolism in 2018 found that older adults in their 60S and 70S who engaged in consistent Zone 2 cardio experienced gene expression patterns similar to much younger individuals, especially in the muscle tissue. Their cells literally started behaving younger. So how do you apply this? A simple science-backed protocol is aim for 3 to 5 sessions per week of Zone 2 cardio, duration 30 to 45 minutes per session. You should be able to breathe through your nose and speak in full sentences without gasping. Track your heart rate, roughly 180 minus your age gives a target heart rate range for Zone 2, e.g. if you're 60, aim for 120 BPM. If you're already walking daily, that's a great start. To enter Zone 2, try increasing pace or adding a hill or incline. Many people walk slower than they realize and never reach the intensity needed to stimulate mitochondrial benefits. Now, why not just do high-intensity interval training, HIIT, instead? While HIIT has its place, it can also spike cortisol and stress hormones, especially in people over 50. Zone 2, on the other hand, is gentler on the joints, more sustainable, and deeply rejuvenating to your cellular energy systems. Here's something empowering. Your mitochondria respond within weeks. Most people report more energy, better endurance, and improved mental clarity after just 4-6 weeks of consistent Zone 2 movement. And remember, this isn't just about physical stamina. Your brain is packed with mitochondria. When they work better, your mood improves, your focus sharpens, and even memory becomes more resilient. So ask yourself, Are you moving in a way that signals your body to age or to regenerate? Because zone 2 cardio isn't about fitness. It's about cellular youth, and that starts with motion. If this tool resonates, take a moment to subscribe. This channel is about translating real science into habits that build strength, clarity, and longevity together. We're often told that stress is bad for us, and in many ways, that's true. Chronic stress raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, inflames the body, and accelerates aging. But what if certain types of stress could slow aging? That's the paradox and the power of something called hormesis. Hormesis refers to the biological phenomenon where brief, low-dose exposure to a stressor actually strengthens the body. It's the same reason your muscles grow stronger after lifting weights. The initial damage triggers a repair response that leaves the tissue more resilient than before. And this same principle applies not just to muscle, but to your cells, your DNA, your brain, and your metabolism. Here's what the research shows. Controlled exposure to short, manageable stressors like cold, heat, intermittent fasting, or certain plant compounds activates protective genes and cellular pathways, including autophagy, a process where your body clears out old, damaged cells and replaces them with new, more functional ones. Autophagy is often called the body's cellular recycling system, and it plays a central role in longevity. In fact, a 2009 study from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine showed that mice with higher autophagy activity lived significantly longer with fewer age diseases. So how can we activate this anti-aging response? Let's look at 3 practical hormetic tools you can apply safely and effectively. Cold exposure, brief exposure to cold, such as a cold shower or ice bath, triggers mitochondrial biogenesis, increases norepinephrine, which boosts mood and focus, and stimulates brown fat, which burns energy and improves insulin sensitivity. Protocol. Start with 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your normal shower. Gradually increase up to 2-3 minutes, 4 or 5 times per week. Focus on neck, upper back, and chest exposure. Breathe calmly to train your nervous system. Intermittent fasting, going for periods without food, put your body in a mild stress state that enhances metabolic flexibility and activates autophagy. Protocol. Try a 14-10 or 16-8 fasting window. Fast for 14-16 hours. Eat within 8 to 10 hours. Start slowly. Even pushing breakfast back by 1-2 hours can initiate the benefits. Focus on nutrient-dense whole foods during eating windows to support recovery. Heat exposure, sauna. Heat stress from sauna use mimics cardiovascular exercise, increases growth hormone, and upregulates heat shock proteins, molecules that protect and repair your DNA. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine in 2015 found that men who used a sauna 4 to 7 times per week had a 40% lower risk of all-cause mortality. Protocol: 15-20 minutes at 170, 190 DGF, 7788 DC, 2-4 times per week. Hydrate well and allow for gradual cooling afterward. What's key here is dose and recovery. Hormetic stress only works when it's brief and followed by adequate rest. Too much cold, fasting, or heat can backfire. So listen to your body and start gradually. You might be wondering, how do I know it's working? Many people report sharper focus, more stable energy, improved insulin sensitivity, and better sleep within weeks of adopting just one hormetic habit. But perhaps the most important shift is psychological. By engaging with purposeful discomfort, you train resilience. You teach your nervous system that stress isn't always danger. It can be information. And that reframing alone can profoundly slow the psychological aging process. So ask yourself, are you avoiding every stress or using the right ones to rebuild yourself? Because when stress becomes a tool, not a threat, your body begins to regenerate and your biology gets younger. If there's one universal prescription for slowing aging across the brain, body, and emotional system. It's deep, consistent sleep. We often think of sleep as passive, something we do nothing during. But scientifically, it's one of the most metabolically active and regenerative states your body enters. Here's what the research shows. During deep sleep, also called slow wave sleep, your brain undergoes a nightly cleanup through the glymphatic system, a waste clearance network that removes damaged proteins like beta amyloid. These proteins, when left to accumulate, are directly linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Your body also experiences a synchronized release of growth hormone, which supports muscle repair, skin regeneration, and fat metabolism. And critically, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, your central stress responser system, resets itself during sleep, making you more emotionally resilient the next day. In short, when sleep is optimized, you age slower, not just biologically, but neurologically and emotionally. The issue? Sleep quality tends to decline with age. Melatonin production decreases, cortisol rises earlier, and many people over 50 spend less time in deep sleep stages. That's why creating a sleep supportive protocol becomes non-negotiable. Let's break it down into science-based tools you can start tonight. 1. Set a consistent sleep-wake schedule. Your body thrives on rhythm. Irregular bedtimes confuse your circadian system, disrupting hormone release and sleep architecture. Tool, go to bed and wake up within the same 30-minute window each day, even on weekends. This alone can increase deep sleep by 20-30% over time. 2. Block blue light at night. Light, especially blue light from screens, suppresses melatonin, your sleep-inducing hormone. A 2022 study from the University of Basel found that people exposed to screen light for 2 hours before bed took significantly longer to fall asleep and experienced less REM and deep sleep. Tool, use blue light blocking glasses 1-2 hours before bed. Dim all screens and switch to night mode by 8:30 to 9 p.m. Opt for amber or red lighting in the evening. 3. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. Caffeine blocks adenosine, a molecule that builds sleep pressure throughout the day. 4. Fix your IDF up to 2 a.m. Even if you fall asleep after a late coffee, your deep sleep may be 30% shallower, according to studies from the Sleep Research Society. Tool, cut off caffeine at least 8 to 10 hours before bedtime. This allows adenosine to do its job fully. 4. Introduce a wind-down ritual. We can't expect the brain to drop into deep sleep after being on all day. Creating a nightly ritual tells your nervous system it's time to power down. Tool, 10 minutes of journaling or reflection, 5-10 minutes of light stretching or deep breathing. Avoid checking email or social media within 1 hour of sleep. 5. Cool your sleeping environment. Your core body temperature needs to drop about 1 DGC, 1.8 DF, to initiate sleep. A warm room can delay this process. Tool, set your room temperature to 65, 68 DEGF, 1820 DEGC. Take a warm shower 1 hour before bed. It paradoxically cools your core by pushing heat to the skin. Now, why does all this matter for aging? Because poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It accelerates nearly every aging mechanism: inflammation, insulin resistance, memory decline, hormonal imbalance. But the opposite is also true. Better sleep rejuvenates. A 2021 study published in Aging Cell showed that people over 60 who got high-quality sleep had telomere lengths, a marker of biological aging equivalent to people nearly a decade younger. And it's not just about how you feel tomorrow morning. It's about how your entire system repairs, regenerates, and prepares for longevity night after night. So ask yourself, are you truly sleeping to age in reverse? Because when you prioritize sleep as a biological tool, not just a lifestyle choice, you unlock one of the most potent anti-aging protocols available to you. If these insights are helping, consider liking the video or subscribing. It's one way we continue building a grounded, science-first community focused on real transformation. You've probably heard the phrase, "you are what you eat," but the truth is even more specific. You age according to what and when you eat. At the cellular level, every bite you take is information. It tells your body whether to activate inflammation, promote growth and repair, or store fat. That's why nutrition is one of the most potent levers for longevity. Let's start with a class of compounds called polyphenols. These are plant-based molecules found in fruits, vegetables, teas, and spices. What makes them extraordinary is that they act as mild stressors, triggering the body's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory defenses, a hormetic effect we discussed earlier. A 2020 review in Nutrients linked high polyphenol intake to reduce cellular aging, lower cardiovascular risk, and improved cognitive performance. Foods like blueberries, olive oil, turmeric, dark chocolate, and green tea are not just nutritious, they're molecular messages telling your body to resist damage and repair faster. Here's a simple tool. Aim for 5 different colors of plant foods per day. This increases polyphenol variety and antioxidant coverage. Incorporate herbs and spices like turmeric, cinnamon, oregano, and ginger into daily meals. They're among the most polyphenol dense. Now, let's address the second major nutritional pillar, protein. As we age, we naturally lose muscle through a process called sarcopenia. And this isn't just about strength. It affects metabolic rate, bone health, immune function, and even brain performance. Without enough high-quality protein, the body can't maintain the tissues it needs to stay vital. What's happening in your body is this. After age 50, your ability to synthesize muscle protein declines. This means you need more protein, not less, to maintain or rebuild lean mass. A 2021 meta-analysis in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults consuming at least 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight maintained significantly more muscle and had a reduced risk of frailty and falls. Here's a practical breakdown. For a 150 lb person, tilde 68 kg, that's 82 grams of protein per day. Spread protein intake across 3 meals, ideally 25-35 g per meal. Include leucine-rich sources like eggs, salmon, lentils, Greek yogurt, or grass-fed meat to trigger muscle protein synthesis. And timing matters. The post-exercise window and breakfast are especially important for older adults who often underconsume protein early in the day. Skipping or skimping on breakfast, that's often when muscle loss begins. Here's a real-life example. Consider a 62-year-old who starts the day with coffee and toast, snacks through lunch, and eats a large protein-heavy dinner. They may be getting enough total protein, but they're missing the distribution their muscles need to stay metabolically active. So if you want your muscles and metabolism to age well, shift toward front-loading protein early, including 25-30 grams at breakfast, ideally paired with fiber and healthy fats for blood sugar stability. What about supplements? For some, especially those with reduced appetite or difficulty chewing, collagen peptides, whey protein, or plant-based powders can be helpful. Just ensure they're third-party tested and contain a full amino acid profile when possible. So ask yourself, are you eating to survive or eating to regenerate? Because when food becomes fuel for repair, communication, and protection, every bite becomes a small act of anti-aging. We often focus on diet, exercise, and sleep when it comes to aging, and those are crucial. But there's another dimension just as powerful, if not more: your relationships and sense of purpose. We are wired to connect, and neuroscience now confirms what ancient wisdom has long suggested. Social connection isn't just emotionally nourishing, it's biologically protective. In a landmark study from Harvard that tracked participants for over 80 years, the longest running study on human happiness and health, the strongest predictor of longevity was not cholesterol levels, income, or even genetics. It was the quality of one's relationships. Here's why. Meaningful relationships regulate the nervous system. They reduce chronic stress. They release oxytocin, a hormone that lowers inflammation and promotes healing. And they activate regions in the brain, like the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, that are directly tied to emotional regulation and resilience. Loneliness, on the other hand, acts like a chronic stressor. A meta-analysis published in Perspectives on Psychological Science found that social isolation increases risk of early death by up to 32%, similar to the effects of smoking or obesity. So the question isn't just who are you eating with, it's who are you walking through life with? But connection is only one half of this final tool. The other is purpose, a deep sense of meaning or contribution that makes each day matter. And from a neuroscience perspective, living with purpose activates the brain's dopaminergic reward circuits. It aligns your actions with your values. It shifts your biology away from reactivity and toward intentionality. Purpose has even been shown to reduce the impact of aged diseases. A 2014 study published in Psychological Science found that individuals over 60 who reported a strong sense of purpose had a 23% reduced risk of death from all causes, regardless of income, health status, or gender. So how do we apply this science practically? 1. Schedule connection intentionally. Don't leave social engagement to chance. Tool, schedule one meaningful conversation per week. A call, a walk, a coffee, focused on listening, not just talking. Join a group based on values or interest, whether it's fitness, faith, service, or learning. 2. Practice micro acts of purpose. You don't need to change careers to find purpose. It starts in the micro moments. Tool, each morning ask, who can I help today? Write a short note of gratitude or encouragement to someone once a week. Reflect once a month. What do I want to be remembered for? By the people closest to me. 3. Engage the brain through mentorship or legacy. Purpose expands when passed on. Tool, offer guidance to someone younger in your field or community. Share life lessons in writing or recording for future generations. Volunteer in a way that allows you to share your experience and empathy. What's happening neurologically during all this is powerful. Oxytocin rises, cortisol drops, inflammation decreases, and brain structures involved in memory and decision-making actually become more stable and less prone to age decline. So ask yourself, are you aging in isolation or growing through connection? Because aging well is not just a solo pursuit, it's a relational practice, one built on the quiet power of purpose, empathy, and presence. When your biology aligns with your values and your heart aligns with your habits, you don't just live longer, you live better. So let's take a breath and zoom out. Over the past few minutes, we've explored 6 science-backed tools that don't just slow aging, they reverse many of its effects at the cellular, neurological, and emotional level. Here's a quick recap of what the research shows and what you can now act on. Optimize your circadian rhythm. By aligning your light exposure and meal timing with your body's natural clock, you activate gene expression that supports youthful metabolism, hormone balance, and repair. Use Zone 2 cardio. This gentle, sustainable form of movement rebuilds your mitochondria, boosts energy, and strengthens your brain's aging defenses, especially when practiced consistently. Activate hormetic stress. Through cold exposure, fasting, or heat therapy, you train your cells to clear out damage and regenerate, slowing aging from the inside out. Prioritize deep sleep. By protecting your sleep quality with light, temperature, and timing habits, you regenerate brain cells, balance hormones, and strengthen your emotional resilience. Fuel with polyphenols and protein. What and when you eat sends powerful signals to your DNA. Color-rich plants and protein-optimized meals can protect your body's tissues, prevent muscle loss, and stabilize cognition. Strengthen connection and purpose, perhaps the most overlooked longevity strategy. Nurturing meaningful relationships and living with intention actually protects your brain and body as you age. Each of these tools is a small act of alignment between your biology and your behavior, your science, and your story. Because aging isn't just a biological timeline, it's a pattern of choices. And the beauty of neuroscience is this: your brain, your body, and even your cells are always listening, adapting to how you live. You may not control the years you've lived, but you do control the signals you send today through how you move, connect, rest, and nourish yourself. So the question now becomes, what's one tool from today that you're ready to try? Maybe it's stepping outside first thing in the morning to sync your clock. Maybe it's adding a zone 2 walk to your weekly rhythm. Maybe it's calling a friend or finally writing down that life lesson you've been carrying. Whatever it is, don't wait, because every step, no matter how small, sends a signal. I'm still growing. I'm still alive. I'm still becoming. And that's the most powerful anti-aging tool of all, the mindset of growth over decline. If you found this episode valuable, I invite you to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. This channel exists to bring you real science-based tools that elevate your mind, body, and life, one habit at a time. We're building a community of people who choose to age with wisdom, strength, and intention. So welcome, and remember, aging is inevitable, but how you live is still a choice. Let's make it a powerful one.